Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here today, and appreciate you taking a few minutes this morning and looking with me in the book of Proverbs. We're back in the 31st proverb today, as we come near the end. About another week, less than a week, should be able to wrap up this book of wisdom. And we are in what I believe, if memory serves me correctly, would be the longest section on one topic in the book of Proverbs. And that is the passage here dealing with a virtuous woman. And so in verse 22 today, it says, She maketh herself coverings of tapestry, her clothing is silk and purple. Um, and I'm going where angels fear to tread. But let me remind you that I didn't write it. I'm just repeating what he says, and that is that a virtuous woman, a good wife, a righteous wife, takes is concerned about her appearance, how she looks, how she is dressed. She wants to make herself, and hear this whole statement, attractive, nice looking for her husband, not to anybody else, but to her husband. That's her concern. And the wonderful thing I see in this statement is actually from the previous verse. When in the previous verse, it told us that she wasn't afraid of the bad weather for her family because she's made sure that they were clothed and that they had what they needed. Now it says, after they're taken care of, then we read that she's making clothing for herself. I'm going to speculate something that the Bible doesn't say, but just having known some really good women in my lifetime and seen how they operate. My guess would be that many times after making clothing for her family, she took the scraps, she took the leftovers, and put those together and made something attractive for herself out of those leftovers. That the first cloth, the best cloth, went to her husband and her children. I'm just guessing there, but having watched some really good, really godly ladies over the years, it's again a lot of. There's a saying, and I may not get it exactly right, that if there's only one piece of pie left, it's all of a sudden mom's not hungry anymore. And that's just the way godly women operate. And again, it says she makes these coverings of tapestry. Clothing is silk and purple. The covering, some people speculate here that what that word, because of the difference in culture, we're not sure, but that it refers to making other items for the home. In our world, not necessarily in Proverbs times, but in our world, it would refer to the woman making curtains or bedclothes or something of that nature, rugs, whatever, other things for the home. But that she is again taking care of her home and her appearance. That she doesn't, by her appearance. By the way, she takes care of business in the home. She doesn't bring shame to her children, bring shame to her husband, just to be perfectly, not maybe not perfectly, but to be completely blunt here. I have over the years with my children been at school for various events with them and see women coming in with their child wearing clothing and outfits that honestly, my wife wouldn't wear around the house, and that's not because I said so, but because my wife is this kind of woman, and who is concerned about that, and ultimately recognizing that that also has an effect on how people see her relationship with the Lord. Understanding that the outer beauty comes from the inner beauty. And again, I realize that this is maybe a touchy subject in our world of women's lib and all those things. And I'm not saying, and I don't think the book of Proverbs is saying, is that the woman is to be a showpiece or on her husband's arm to be some kind of trophy. I don't think that's what it's saying at all. I think it's saying that a virtuous woman understands that her outward appearance is part of her testimony as well. That it is a reflection on her, it is a reflection on her family. Most of all, it is a reflection on God. Now, I want to close with how I've kind of approached this as well throughout the whole passage, that I think this is a broader application. Again, the church is considered the bride of Christ. And if the virtuous woman here is taking care of how she presents herself to her husband, to the community, then the church, the bride of Christ, we need to be very cautious and careful in how we look to the world, that we put our best foot forward, that maybe I'm old-fashioned, but that the yard's mowed, that the buildings are taken care of, those kind of things, that we're taking care of God's house, and that we realize that is a reflection not only on us but on God Himself. I know it's a tough passage. I know it has the potential to ruffle some feathers, and to use the old saying, if what I said could be taken two different ways, and one of them makes you mad, I meant it the other way. But I do think, and it goes the same. You could take this same statement and make it to men. Men walking around with their pants half off of them, those kind of things. We need to think about the image, the perception that we are putting out there for people, and what does our demeanor, what does our dress, what does the way we look, what does that say about our God? Something to think about. Something to think about very seriously, because some people, they'll never read the Bible, they'll never go to church. That's all they'll ever see. Something to think about for us today. All right, have a good day. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.